Let me show you exactly how you need to be playing the reworked SKARNER. Now, before I go over the runes, we're going to talk a little bit about the options available to us. Obviously, we're against a Kayn here, and we have a really good game plan from the SKARNER to showcase where his strength lies and how to really carry with the champion. Now, first and foremost, Conqueror is baseline. People are going that fine. You obviously have the Phase Rush people doing that also. Again, fine. All of these are good. Aftershock is a more niche option, but again, good, fine. However, in this game, on your screen now, as we watch this level 1, is a Grasp of the Undying SKARNER. And that's because the build variations, I've waited to make this video to ensure as we watch this whole level 1 shenanigans go through, and Riven will die. Okay, cool. Now, here's a great indicator of first clears. This is why I stuck with this game, because his game planning was exemplary, super good. The way he played the champion, best I've seen out of anyone in high elo so far in terms of executing everything together a little bit. Obviously, challenger players are, way above. But just to showcase to you the general player base how to play this champion, this is what we do. So, why Grasp? Because we obviously have the Barmy's Rush, alright? I'm going to leave it on him. Normally we would click around and look at the map, but let's just focus on the clear so you guys can watch that and study that as well. So, Sunfire into Iceborne Gauntlet is the template. Now, what I do recommend most of you do is actually sit on the Barmies and then go into your Iceborne if you like that build. Finish off your Sunfire or Hollow Radiance as necessary second. That's a fine and strong build. Well, it's a good build. It's a default build. It works. Everybody likes it. It works with Aftershock, Conqueror, Phase Rush. Choose your preference, really. The reason that I chose this game is because he runs what I think is the best thing to rush first, Heartsteel. Before I get into that, look at the cross timer here, 226. We started with no HP. Look at our heals here. We use our E to go into the wolf camp, hit the wall. Why? Because it gives us that 65% cooldown refund. So when you're using your E to farm, it is imperative that you hit the wall. I cannot stress this enough. Way too many players are not hitting the wall in their clears. Now they're getting the maximum cooldown, which is just up to 20 seconds. It was 24. And you're not having the rotational ability of, hey, I'm using this while clearing, and then I can go gank with it. So, Heartsteel. HP is important on this champion because of how we scale with it. HP 80 scaling, HP scaling, HP scaling, and of course, magic damage scaling. Now, when you have this much AD and magic damage scaling, there you go, we get the cooldown refund. You have to think about what do I want to accomplish in terms of tankiness and damage. In this particular situation, the Heartsteel into a Titanic or Styrax has been floated with. People suggest, hey, maybe we should do that as our build path. Let's talk about that and continue that thought in a second, because now we know that Kayn's sequencing down, good sitting, terrible planted. Let's look at what we can do here in a 1v1 sense against a juicy enemy jungler. What are we going to do? You absolutely must head to Virkayu.gg. Updated courses with Season 14 components. We have that dedicated program to help you climb faster, coaching classes, coaching VOD libraries of all kinds, special weekly content you'll see nowhere else, Q&As, patch note rundowns, community events to get better, as well as all of this hosted in a private jungle Discord. And if there is one thing I'm good at, it's making junglers go from low elo to high elo, as seen by the great number of success stories from the end of last season and already the beginning of Season 14. So to climb faster than everybody you know and to jungle diff every game you play, head to Virkayu.gg or click the link in the description below. Q is coming off cooldown, so what we're going to do is first pull the Q, then we're going to use our W for the slow. This will allow us to hit him against the wall and then obviously hit the slow with our Q. Unfortunately, he goes over the wall, but Akshan will rotate and get that kill. So huge there, where we actually prime our Q, use our W initially and get the passive going with that Q. His activation here gives you that bonus attack speed, gives you all of the extra damage, the final attack they're doing, max health, as well as slowing. You can prematurely cast this Q to chuck a boulder, as we all know at this stage. There will be moments where we look at that in this game, but for now, a lot of the time you're going to press Q, you're going to use it to auto attack, and the final attack will just hit the person and slow them. But we start off with the W because it allows us to keep hitting the person in front of us, getting that passive going, which again, max HP damage on this one. You need to actually apply basic attacks and your abilities to stack it up to 3 times, because that's when you actually give them the max HP health damage. Now, in this particular situation, jungling wise, the Kayn starts topside, goes down. We start topside, we go down. We know he's going to reach us here. We say, let's use our prior and our advantage to beat him 1v1. We do that. Beautiful. Now, that means he's going to go back to base and most likely take the scuttle first and foremost, and then gank top lane if it's gankable. In this case, it is gankable. So SKARNER says, let me rotate to this, uses his E across the wall, through the wall, and now we will not have that stun, but maybe we have enough presence to push the Kayn away. We do. Perfect. This is what the champion wants to do. You are not going to be some sort of Omega carry 1v9. You can be, and he does, and we will see some of that. But at the end of the day, he's still a win-conditioned tank jungler who loves the fighter style, right? That is what he is, and while you will have the games where you pop off and do immense amounts of damage, you're not always going to do that much damage. The audio is a little loud there on my side, apologies. So basically what we're looking to do in this situation now, here we go again, E through the wall, against the wall, get the cooldown refund, Krugs into Raptors. Can we cut up into this? Can we go to this? Is Kayn going here down? Is Kayn going down here? I don't know, but what I do, oh, now we do. Now what the SKARNER knows is that I can hit the plan and just go for this for free. And honestly, that's absolutely fine because he thinks he has the power to skirmish over this. He has mid-prio, Karma is Karma top lane, the Riven is chunked and compromised, and Kayn's like, you know what, if I go for this coin flip fight, I'm not actually going to get anywhere. So Riven decides to contest these for no particular intelligent reason, wards him for no particular intelligent reason, and now has to run away. Just give them up. But as you can see, he does them pretty quickly. So using your W for your shield, as well as a slow, huge. Using your E to counter gank, and of course farm. Here we go again, get to the next location as fast as possible. Good. Using your Q as much as possible, obviously maxing this ability first, is what gives you the attack speed for your passive, and using W to open while you lose the shield does give you stickiness. But you have to think, there's no real combos, it's more, in what order should I use my abilities that makes the most sense? Now in this stage, we've lost our wolves to the Kayn, who's now looking down the bottom lane for a dive, and SKARNER says, huh, I see you. He watches this from Blue Team's perspective now, they're pushed up here, and he says, what you can do, I can do better. SKARNER, E through the wall, hits that suppression, perfect. We get Omega CC, a lot of damage from the W, a lot of damage from our Q, everything working perfectly there, and now we can chase the Kayn away. Push the wave, juicy, juicy. Lux is pushing at mid lane, also pretty good, 202, 50 ECS. And it was easy. It was easy. You full clear down, beat someone 1v1 using Fog of War and his champion kit, went back to base, counter-ganked the guy because he kind of expected it and used the E to do exactly that, did a quadrant, let the Kayn settle in, and then cut up to do an objective. Standard farming practice for junglers, with a little bit more win condition and trading pattern. Now, sit on the bombies. Basically in every build, I advise bombies. If you like to go Iceborne Gauntlet, do it. If you like to go Heartsteel, do it. Quickly, the Grasp of the Undying, and as I've discussed with King Nudog, and he's told me before, when he's recommended this for Jarvan years ago, it's because it's the only rune that scales directly with HP. So what you get, in fact, is a rune that scales with HP, an item that gives you more HP, and has like 900 of it to begin with, which is huge for all your spells. It's a great snowballing item. Think Mundo Jungle, that's what I always used to do. This is my Mundo Jungle build. Now, what I'm not high on, as we take this quick itemization aside, is rushing the Titanic Hydra second, or the Sterix second. Can you do it? Yes, you can, and I'm cooking up some sort of mana build also, which, you know, if there's anything there, I will let you guys know, of course. But really, I think those are the two de facto builds you should lean into. Grasp, or Aftershock as your resolve tree, there is a little bit of preference here. Obviously, Grasp isn't the best in the jungle, but it does work because it scales with HP. If you're going Heartsteel, you're really benefiting from that. You don't need to get the stacks necessarily, but the damage there and the healing is massive. So we'll keep track of that for the end of the game because now we're doing a dragon and the team contests. So we E over the wall here. We are level 6. We're going to flash there, yeet them over, basically what looks like over the wall because of the way the animation works. And now you can stack your slows thereafter and get yourself another kill. Perfect examples of farming with E, counter-ganking with E twice, rotating with E, and of course, engaging with E to use your R. This has been the best baseline SKARNER game I watched in terms of what's a great example of how to play the champion. This is it. And it's all bombies rush. So whatever build or runes you're going, it doesn't really matter because we're all basically in the same situation here, whether you're rushing the Conqueror, the Phase Rush, the Aftershock. The Aftershock I'm not fully sold on because it does rely on hitting all of your spells accurately all the time, and it's really ult-centric. Obviously, E does get that as well. That's huge. It works, right? It works with this kid. Like, you definitely proc it enough, and you definitely do enough damage. It's not a case of, wow, he only procs it on one spell. That's ridiculous. It does work. I'm just not sure, right? I know the data is solid. I'm just not sure about the feel of it. Obviously, that's my perspective. I know someone who I speak to about this, and he's like, Aftershock every game, I love it. I don't like Phase Rush. Overrated. I don't want to do what Phase Rush champions like Poppy want to do going in and out. I want to stay in. So he goes Aftershock, which I respect. And there's honestly, he's got the logic down in terms of why he likes it and he plays around it. As long as you play around the rune you have, that's more important than what rune you have on these kinds of champions. That's basically the message here. So, now with the bombies, you would go into your Iceborne Gauntlet, finish your Sunfire, Hollow Radiance, depending on what you're facing, most likely Sunfire, and then, you know, buy your magic resist item of choice. In this case, we are going to go for the Heartsteel. Thereafter, if you feel like doing a Sterak's or some sort of Titanic, if you're really hard winning, cool. Otherwise, I do recommend finishing off your Sunfire, Hollow Radiance, and then going into... He goes Jack Show this game, which actually makes a lot of sense. We'll talk about it. Here we do Krugs into Raptors, and now we're priming for this gate. No real angle of approach here, so we're going to use our E just to try and gap close and hit that little knockback to bring them with us. She dodges it. Pretty easy to go. Now we use our W, though, to get the initial slow, and now we're going to keep going. She was grounded. There's our R. Pull her back in. Don't know if we necessarily needed to R there, because obviously we have our Smite up. We could have used our Q3, the boulder chuck that thing. I don't know why I'm calling it Q3, just... You know, I guess it is technically, but the final part of Q to kind of slow her down. We will use that Q later on, so don't worry. It's not as... Chucking the boulder prematurely, instead of just letting Q run out, is not actually something you do frequently. Because you got access points with your E. It's interesting. That's the thing that will come out with the Ultimate Carry Guide I'm probably going to make for the main channel, where we talk a lot about the combos and when you want to use abilities, but let's be honest here. If we go ahead and make these videos on day 2, day 3, people are bullshitting you. I'm giving you a gameplay example of the stuff that we've seen so far, of what we know, and how we use it. Here we go. Can we E over the wall? We're having a look to see if we could. You could have. There you go. But for now, this is what we know, and this is how he plays very well. Obviously, builds and everything will change using Fog of War. I like it. I like it. I like it. Karma going in there to chain it with us, but Riven backs out because Riven. Nice try, though. Nice try, though. All right, back to base. Here we got 1,100 cash monies. Here's the thing. E is a suppression, R is a suppression, which means you cannot use cleanse, but you can use QSS. Thank you, Riot Support. Yes, QSS does work on E as well as R, so we do recommend building that if you're an ADC, and you'll see why later in this game. Now, we have Heartsteel stacked up, so we'll keep track of that, using the E over the wall again, always working on the... Well, we didn't actually hit the wall there, so we didn't get the refund, but yes, as much as possible doing that. Kayn is not really in this game. Don't think we need to pay attention to him at all. Skarner's doing his blue. We can go into the Gromp over here. Bottom lane is doing well from the early rotation. Cassie's not doing so hot. You know, he's been everywhere. He's farmed well. He's been everywhere. He's ganked everywhere. He's counter-ganked. He's got on objectives. What more do you want from a jungler? Now, people say, well, that's boring. What, it's boring doing everything and winning? I didn't realize that doing everything well and winning is a bad thing for people. Now, if you don't enjoy the kit, cool, but... As you can see, the kit does enable everything. See, here you go. We pulled up our, we E'd over the wall, we got rooted, we pulled up our Q, we're not going to be able to hit those auto attacks and actually proc this passive by hitting, right, and getting the final attack. So what we can do now in these situations, if we have teammates following, we can chuck this boulder, there you go, we missed it, but if you hit it, that will also give you the exact same stats as your final Q if you don't press it, right? Same magic damage, same slows. Nice bubble, forces the flash. Prematurely uses our W there, not sure we needed to do that. You see, pulls Q again, just to maybe poke a little bit. There you go. That's where you can use a Q in those situations, because if you hit one slow, and you're able to then approach with E to grab your ultimate, just to grab a power target, that's huge as well. Because sometimes you're not going to have the angles for E, but you can hit a Q, or boulder toss, you can E towards the situation with your smite, and then just get close enough with a W slow or something, and maybe just to pull them back. And obviously that's why Flash, in my opinion, is better than Ghost, because Ghost, you can be stunned, and Flash, you cannot. And we do have E now, even if the movement speed is capped, and there should be some sort of... I reckon there's something they can do here, and obviously here for clunkiness, that is an issue, I will agree. Definitely feels like you're locked out a little bit of the time. So we'll see what they do in the next patch, but for now the numbers, I think, are solid. And when you get to lead, it's really nice. Now, we are waffling a little bit way too much in this section. This is just Master Tier jungling, I think. We're just waiting for the objective. Who wants to fight me? Come on! And there's no camps to take, and Kane's just like, well, I'll keep farming. We'll do the dragon. That's just regular old-fashioned Master jungling versus Challenger jungling. We know that. Back in the pit, we'll go back to base here. Next item for us will be the Merc Treads, still sitting on the bombies. You can finish Sunfire second here. I don't feel like you need to go something special like I've been talking about. You can easily... Here we go. See, it's a nice one. We hit that one. There you go. Let's look at that again. This is what we're looking at. I know we go back a bit more in these new champion guides, but it's important to see things. So we proc our Q as we're going to fight. We should have our eyes up. We do have a boulder to toss. So we chuck it on the grounded targets. There you go. You got that slow now. And obviously here we dodge that one. E is up shortly. We're waiting. There it is. Now we're looking again. Another boulder toss. Chuck that one. Here we go. Whew. You see how he's trying to get in there to get those ults. No team to back except just a Nami, who was made more supportive and does less damage now. Which is a good thing. I think everybody's pretty happy about that. Herald is up. Let's go. This is a thing about mid to lower MMR games, diamond and below games. People get a little bit too focused on, we are losing, we need to contest stuff. You're only down 3,000 gold. Got an Ezreal, got a Zillion, got a Lux, got a Blue Cane, got a Riven. There's no way this game is over, right? I know that comp is really unfun to face in a lot of cases, but the game isn't over. See? Well, you know, Kayn is now at 420 nice. We'll see what we do. Could go counter jungling, but if we're tracking Kayn, we should know things are down. Obviously, in this case, you might lose track in the mid game. That is fine. He is human. Well, he's not human, but you are human, I hope. And we're 402. Not 420, but 402. We're going to do this quadrant here. Up. Nice and good. Next dragon's not really on the map, so you can just keep farming. Shadow the scenario. See, keep this. Be ready to use your E at all moments. There's Riven on the top side. Maybe we can collapse on this one. Oh, she Qs over the wall. Hello. We're going to E air against the wall. Then we can use, of course, our Q and W, and she just straight up dies. Okay, so to go back, you can see here, in this case, we use our E first. We're going W max second. We go with the W here, obviously, to eat the shield when she's finished, and we'll Q to finish, because when Q finishes, we can hit that boulder toss, and that's, there you go, easy. E to W to Q. You can obviously go E into Q into W if you want to stack the slow a little differently, and you would prefer to tank some damage once they're out of the stun. That is perfectly logical as well. We pull the Q here again, chuck over the wall. So you're seeing at this phase of the game, you're using that Q boulder toss a lot more for poking. Look, again, a lot more frequently than you would in the early game. Because you're not necessarily walking around with a boulder all the time. I mean, you can kind of do that. That's where the Shojin comes in. You do run out of mana in like 3 rotations, though. Here we go. Here's another one. See? We're going to pull it again. Off we go. I'm going to chuck this for a slow and some damage. There we go. Cancel the base. Spawn some mites because we got 6 grubs. And here we go. We're going to E through that turret against the wall. Nice stun. Obviously, use your W and Q as necessary when they're off cooldown. The only thing is you do lose a little bit of access to some damage, but when you recast it, you still get that final proc of damage. So it's not that bad. You just waste the attack speed steroid and any damage that comes from your activating your passive situations. What do they call for? And a lot of times combos are like, look at these combos and those combos. They're not really combos in a sense like a fighting game. They're just, in which order should I use my abilities to maximize my output and tankiness versus the person I'm fighting. And it's always a question when it comes to combos, right? It's not just a simple case of you do this combo and that combo. Just when do I use my abilities that makes the most sense? Animation canceling where possible, weaving in auto attacks where possible, that allows me to kill the enemy champion and deal with them in the best way possible. Now we do the blue side quadrant here, obviously. 29 on heart, still don't really care because the HP directly corresponds to my abilities. The HP directly corresponds to my Grasp of the Undying. And that's the thing, I'm using the stats. And this was the same logic back in the day with Rengar on the Essence Reaver when it had mana. You can't build Essence Reaver on Rengar, he doesn't have mana. And it doesn't really matter that he doesn't have mana, guys. It's not about that. It's about the actual other stats that are juiced out of this world, and I'm going to use it to one-shot you for the next 25 minutes. So get used to it. And it's the same kind of thing in a lot of situations where one stat of an item isn't used, but the others are so good. I feel the same way when it comes to Grasp and Heartsteel. Now, would I run Grasp personally? No. Personally, no, I wouldn't. I'm much more of a Phase Rush, Conqueror, Aftershock kind of player when it comes to these style of champions. And I'm most likely going to stay there. There are other runes also popping up, but I'm not going to talk about them. I'll save all of that for the next time. For now, I truly believe that your best bet is going with a Phase Rush, Conqueror, Aftershock, maybe a Grasp rune set, into a Barmies, Heartsteel, tanky itemization choice, or going into a Iceborne Gauntlet, Sunfire, Iceborne Gauntlet, tanky choice. These are the best ways to go. And if you're super fed, feel free to chuck in a Sterex. I think that's a little better than Titanic. I love that item, but just doesn't feel as good these days, to be honest with you. I haven't really thought about it too much, but even a Volibear, like, I prefer the Sterex. Interesting, because for years I pushed the Titanic of Volibear. When he was dead, no win rate in 2021, I said, guys, Divine Sunder and Titanic Hydra. Let's do this. And Trinity Force and Titanic Hydra. That was a build for like 2 years. Anyway, this is solid. Like, they can't walk up to the Skarner. They can't do anything to deal with him. And that's exactly why people don't always play him, because his body is so big. Literally, now there's the E against the wall, of course, using that Q, and then we can go with the Boulder Toss over the wall. We could have flashed at an R at him if we wanted to, but it's a Kayn, so that's probably not the best champion to full commit to those technologies and actions. We'll steal his camps, though. As we go, yes we go. Crowd across, E across. Worth noting, if you are in a situation where you are too deep and they collapse on you, you can, of course, E across and run away. Always funny. Riven's down here, so I respect the fact that we kind of kept an eye on that and don't go for the red buff steal. Now we watch our team. I would prefer if we were rotating to this and not going to our wolf camp. I think that's a massive oversight. Jungle-wise, we do not need more farm. We are strong. We're not stacking this hard steal for late game, which is using the raw stats. And whatever stacks we get, hopefully it will be good. And now, of course, I think, you know, when you kill someone like that, you should be looking at baiting a Baron. This is a very stagnant mid-game. And again, the reason the blue team have an FF is because even though this game's rough, all they need is one situation, right, where Elder Dragon's up and they win a fight. They just need to be strong for that. Oh, here we go. Alright, here we go. Scanning unnecessarily because we're going to go top lane anyway. Let's see the abilities. How does he use them? He presses obviously W here to slow the minions and obviously do some damage to them. A little bit unnecessary, maybe taking the abilities from the Ezreal. Don't think we need to. Get vision first. Then we're going to E over the wall here and try and suppress him, which of course we do. Then we can chuck that Q, activate it nicely. We have another W up already. There's a Q3. We'll keep auto-attacking. W goes off as well. And now you just keep autoing, keep autoing, keep autoing. No need to use your ultimate. And Q will be up again if you need it. But we don't. Cooldown's pretty good, actually. I mean, our Shojin will mainly make this a bit more spammable. There's technology there. Working on it. We'll see where we go. We'll see where we go. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, oh, I should rotate and help my team. Here we go again. Chucks, or picks up a Q. Can we throw the Q? Yes, we can, but they're not there, so we're going to chuck that Q. And then go for peels a little bit. We're in the middle of two different places. We need to decide in which direction we want to go. Obviously, you want to make sure you're using your Q as much as possible, your W as much as possible, on targets to tank abilities as well. There's another Q boulder pull up. Can we chuck it? No one's in the way. Not a lot of ult usage in this particular game. That's fine. That's fine. The ult usages we did have were great examples of this is why you ult. Multiple people in a choke point, flash full commit. Need to guarantee the gank off? Do it. Here we have it as well. So you can always flash R's. We're not seeing it, but you can. Like there, it's a Riven. And I would have loved to see a flash R here. I would have loved to see an opening salvo where you can actually go ahead, engage with our ult, and then see what that looks like in terms of damage profile. Because if you see there, if Shattered Earth is active, Skarner will cast Upheaval first, which is this sucker right here. Alright, the chucking of the boulder. So if you can Q, flash R, you're going to get that cast as well. They will be slowed a little bit. You bring them towards your teammates. You can then now bring them near a wall and, you know, maybe E them towards a wall if you're so inclined. And obviously if you're slow from your W as well. I would have loved to see that play right here. And I feel like the fact that we didn't is a limit testing issue. We don't know if we can, but with the Heartsteel, the Bombies, and the Jack Show, we can do. Excuse me though, we were Jack Show second. Why? Because we are not that tanky with Heartsteel. Only HP, no resistances. So go the thing that allows you to drain people with your with the HP as well, but also gives you a lot of stacking resistances in these fights. E flank, here we go. This time using the W for the slow. Obviously the Kayn's out of position. We're going to try and chuck a boulder at him. We can't. We're going to ult this person, whoever this person is, Zillion, back into the turret. His ult is active, so we pull off. Huge. Q toss again. Let's see. Bit on the back foot here. Chucks that Q through the wall. And now, obviously, we just go full out. Auto attacks. There's the flash. There's the E suppression against the wall. Beautifully done. Stunned in place, in space, in time. Chucks another boulder here. Holding onto that one. Tries to throw it, misses it. Ezreal gets away. W doesn't do anything. But this is great. Disruption, spam, disruption, spam. CC, slows, disruption, spam. It's consistent. It's a nice rotational tank output. It's not like rotational Skarner from previous iterations, well, the previous iteration at this stage, but it is there, you know? 5.2 seconds, 6.09. That's why we max these first, because this sucker right here is quite high on the cooldown. Obviously, I got a replay bug with the numbers. I'm using the client, so the patch hotfixes don't always work, but is what it is. Still, with those buffs and those hotfixes, I think E is in a much better place where you don't actually need to max it. And that's interesting. Because the flat numbers are now better, in terms of cooldown, I don't feel as stressed about maxing QW. Which is important. There's a Q over the wall, which of course you can use it for. Push away for a little bit? Yeah, push away, okay. Now you guys are taking the piss a little bit. E, go mid lane, grab it and push away. There, you got a little bit of macro for you. Out of the base here, Sunfire is finally complete. Obviously, you've got Force of Nature, but there's the E through the wall. Excuse me, we almost missed that. Beautifully done against the Zillion. Obviously, it's a Zillion though, so... This is where you wish you had Phase Rush to position again. This is where you wish you had Ghostblade. No, don't go Ghostblade. That's a meme. I saw someone with that build and I was like, no, don't do that. Turbo Chem Tank and Righteous Glory. That's what we want on this champion. Unlucky that those are gone. We would still use it. Huge. It would be huge. Absolutely huge. Alright, can we do the Baron now? Yes, we can. Finally. And they're going to contest. Ooh, that was nice. Here, watch this. We're starting this up for a bait, because we do win, and now we actually use a flanking angle here. I am not the only Kayn in the game. And here you go for the suppression. We don't obviously get against the wall. Double ultimate. That was beautiful. That was exactly how you win team fights on the Skarner. Shall we look at that again? Yes, we shall, because this is a video guide on how to maximize Skarner. So, we pull the Q. We have a boulder in our tails. And what we can do here is E, suppression into as many targets as possible. It groups everybody together, okay? Then, of course, that Q3 goes off. That boulder toss goes off, so now we get the slow plus a percentage damage, which is quite a lot of damage at this point. Now, we go straight into a W, which will slow them further and do damage further and tank it. It allows us to press that W. It allows us to press the R cast while W is active, right? You W, you tank some damage, you slow them a little bit, you activate your R, and now you yeet them back into your team. And your Q is already off cooldown again, so you can smite as necessary. That was it. That's how you win team fights with Skarner now. It's basically if Blue Kayn were a tank. That's frightening. But no one's playing it properly. That's a Baron for us. Riven in the meantime is trying to split push. We get the Baron, and we got one more play here. And in this particular case, I like this logic as well. I have all the resistances and HP I need. I have my Barmy's itemization, whether it's Sunfire or Hollow Radiance, depending on the composition I'm facing. And now I can go into a Sterix Gauge and have Tenacity, which is what we want, and Survivability, which is what we want. Final fight here. We do miss the Q toss a little too soon. That guy does not play Kayn, because otherwise you would know the timing. Huge. Saxon Heartsteel 382 at this particular stage. Now you can just slam a guy into a wall, tank a few turrets, hit the turret yourself. There we go. Obviously, there is a reduction of that DPS on turrets. It's not free. It's not like doing it on champions. Chuck another boulder. Akshan goes and does modern gaming. And we'll catch the wave here. So, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. A great rundown on how to play Skarner properly. Discussion on items and runes. There's no dogma about this at this stage. It's still early. You have your preferences. I have mine. I have my suggestions. You can take them or not. There are ways to play them that are slightly different. Although I will say, I do really believe that the Heartsteel Barmy's tech, or the Iceborne Gauntlet Barmy's tech, with a Sterix Gauge thrown in there at some point, with tank itemization, is the way to go. Phase Rush standard if you guys need positioning help. Aftershock if you're a savant using tank CC, peeling, and target swapping. Conqueror if you prefer to fist a bit more, but maybe that's for some different technology. And Grasp if you are an out-of-the-box thinker.